Matthew in Long Beach, California. Hey, Matthew, you want to take issue with me?
Yes, Tom, I do. First of all, I want to just say that I'm a longtime listener, and I'm a fan, very much a fan, and I'm also a Bernie Sanders supporter.
Okay.
Who just happens to be African American, by the way.
All right.
But the thing that the reason I'm calling is I'm just a little bit mystified. I just got through hearing your talk with Stephanie Miller, and what came across to me was just the amount of passion that she seemed to have for Hillary Clinton, which is all well and good. I'm a lifelong Democrat, and I will support whoever the Democratic nominee is. But what really sort of troubles me, I guess, to an extent, you seem to be, at least in my opinion, somewhat dispassionate about Bernie Sanders, and too willing to follow the Hillary Clinton line, so to speak. I just wondered, why you're so willing to accede to Hillary Clinton's positions and not necessarily show that same level of passion toward Bernie Sanders.
Matthew, I wish you could sit in my seat for a day. I get slapped on the left and slapped on the right. It's like without let up. First of all, I asked Stephanie.
The Clintons don't seem to have that same level of respect, I guess, for lack of a better term, that same level of respect for Bernie Sanders. But we seem to, and you seem to, bend over terribly backward to give her that level of support. That I just don't understand that.
Yeah, I'm already getting crap for having said that Hillary's attack on Bernie was a half truth, which I stand by. I think it was it was cheap politics what she did during the debate when she said that he voted against the auto bailout. He actually voted for the auto bailout when it was a standalone bill. It was the Republicans who filibustered it, not Bernie. And I said that. I've said that, I think, 3 times today now? I asked Stephanie. I had Stephanie on, and I was on her show earlier. I was on her show at 10 o'clock Eastern time. And the reason, and Stephanie and I are old friends, and we have our political differences, but we're both good progressives. Her dad, if you didn't know, by the way, was Miller of Goldwater Miller. He was Barry Goldwater's running mate.
Yes, I do know that.
And I asked her specifically why, what are you excited about Hillary? Because I wanted to give her an opportunity to make her pitch. We ran out of time. We had the first 5 minutes. We were unable to get her on the air. I was going to say, here's why I'm passionate about Bernie, but I never got around to it. But I talk about it on the air all the time. My opinion, personally, is that Bernie is a once-in-a-lifetime politician, or a very rare politician. I think that there are, if you look at the Congressional Progressive Caucus, which I think has 90-some-odd members, probably 3/4 of them fall into the kind of Bernie category, although most of them are in the House. And that is that, they have very, very high integrity. They don't take corporate money, or if they do, it's very, very limited. And they're running on principle rather than on candidacy. I think that Bernie's candidacy is an issue candidacy. It's not a I want to be president candidacy. In fact, if you've listened to this program for years, you've heard for the last 5 years people begging Bernie to run for president, and him saying no, 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 until finally, he said, okay, well, in fact, he was like, if Elizabeth Warren or any other progressive gets in, I will not, because I'm not. In fact, I remember the day that he said it. He said, Tom, and I'm paraphrasing from memory, but I think I'm damn close. He said, most of the senators in this town wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and say to themselves, "I'm looking at the next president of the United States." He says, "That's never been me," and I believe that to absolutely be true. I think that he's an honest man and an honest politician, and those things are very rare. I'm also of the opinion, and I hope I'm very wrong on this. I think that if Bernie Sanders is our nominee, is the Democratic Party's nominee, I think he will crush any Republican. I think if Hillary Clinton is going to be the Democratic Party nominee, I think she's going to have a very hard time. There's an enormous amount of baggage there, and she's not that good a campaigner, as although Bernie is not the world's best campaigner either. So But I enthusiastically support Bernie. But let me just, Matthew, this is, one of the folks in our chat room. This is Julie in our chat room right now. She just posted this a few minutes ago. She said, Tom, you're doing Bernie a disservice in your continual defense of Hillary, who is getting all the establishment Dems behind her, both Republican and New Dem sources. You just called me an idiot because I will not vote for Hillary. I will write in Bernie. That is arrogant and does not serve you well. Be realistic, Tom. Many of us feel that way. See, this is... and then she goes on to say, Hillary has way too much baggage, hawkishness, corporate ties, incremental changes, not is what we'll get. And you know what kind, this is a campaign, you have an obligation to be truthful. I still believe that if Hillary Clinton is our nominee, that we have to circle behind her. We have to promote her.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I totally agree with
then why would it be to anybody's advantage for me to go on the air? And there's no shortage of things I could trash her with. I've got there's entire books written by Republicans about the failures of Hillary and Bill Clinton or the whatever. I mean, it would be so. But what possible value would it have?
No, I get it. I do understand. I do think we do have to circle the wagons as progressives, which I think I am. I think we do have to circle the wagons around whoever the Democratic nominee is. But my only problem with Hillary Clinton is I think there are two problems. I think she has a believability problem, and I think she has a credibility problem. I mean, I think she's the kind of person that would say anything to get elected. I think Bernie Sanders is more of a person of principle. I believe and I've heard him on your show for years, Tom, on Fridays. I'm a firm, avid listener of yours, and I've heard him for a number of years. But I do believe that she is somebody who wants this nomination so badly, she's willing to say anything to get the nomination. That is the problem that I have with her.
Well, and I understand that, and she's changed her position on a number of issues, which feeds into that perception. On the other hand, she's changed her position on those issues in a direction that we like, which is what we want our politicians to do, I think. The question is, will she hold those positions? Barack Obama campaigned on renegotiating NAFTA as one of his first priorities. That didn't turn out so well. So I understand your perspective, but let me toss it back at you, Matthew. If Hillary's our nominee, which one of the Republicans has more integrity than she does?
None.
Okay, so we're right back where we started, which is, yes, I will be honest. I love Bernie Sanders. I treasure him. I think he's an extraordinary candidate and a great human being, and I think he'd make a great president. That said, if he's not our nominee and Hillary Clinton is, I think she will. I think she can make a very good president, and I think that and not even think. I know I will be supporting her. What's wrong with that?
No, nothing. I mean, I agree. I will vote for her as well if she is the Democratic nominee. I have no problem in doing that. I am just a very avid supporter and believer in what Bernie Sanders says.
So am I, Matthew. So am I. But wouldn't you not agree with me that not to pick on Julie in our message board, but that anybody who says, if Hillary's the nominee, I'm going to write in Bernie, which of course means your vote doesn't get counted.
No, I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, yeah. Matthew. I think we're on the same page. I understand you might want me to be a little more full-throated in support of Bernie.
I just have a tendency to believe sometimes that I just tear my hair out when I'm listening to you. Sometimes I think, why is he just giving her so much of the benefit of the doubt here? I mean, that's what just sort of
because she's a Democrat,
a little bit nuts. But
because she's on my team. Position. She's on my team.
I get it. I understand.
You ever played baseball? I was never into football, but I used to play baseball as a kid. And there would be people on the team who were the weakest players. Typically, it was me, the last one picked. But hey, they're on your team. You support them.
Right.
So
you got all the intellectual gifts, Tom.
Yeah. Thank you, Matthew. Thank you for your call, and thanks, and thank you for the the blunt honesty of your call. I really appreciate it.